because I believe what you offer in terms of membership actually reflects how you engage. So for me, the classic example, and I hope I don't put any noses out of joint here, if you just offer 12-month membership option, pay your fees up front for the whole season, what does that tell me as the end user? And I think in a lot of cases, and the way I interpret that is that maybe it just tells me that you're just about the sport. We're just about getting a team out on a Saturday or whatever it is, and we need you to fill that position. And you perhaps maybe take your members for granted. Because I can tell you now, as an example with myself, I very rarely commit to anything that's full year or 12 months. And you look at your own walk of life, how many things that you do full year engagement and pay up front for? Very few. I do the monthly Netflix, or, you pay all that. It's user pays in a lot of ways. So I suppose what I'm trying to get at here is I think if you're very one-dimensional in terms of your membership offer, that tells me that I think you're not truly engaging with your people. So some immediate priorities just around retain, which you might be thinking about now, and it relates to the core messages I put out before around care. And I've talked, and you would have had lots of these from your own sports, I'm sure, around what flexibility you can offer members if needed, some discounts, pay what you can, adopt a member scheme, discount for the following year. What are the things that you can provide your members that will keep them on board and keep you afloat as well? I think that shows good engagement. Those options are easy to understand, so that clarity again and communicating them to people straight away. And again, that community. So rallying the herd to encourage people to try and stay with you during this period. And I've seen some really good examples. Vic Sport over in Australia could do a great little social media campaign around, just weekly reminders around exactly that message. Your clubs need you now. Stay with them. Please try and pay your membership if you can, or some kind of arrangement, but stay with them. So what are you doing in terms of that to be able to engage your members? I suppose the bit I'm, again, most interested in is around that future. So for me, membership and your engagement, flexibility and value add. So if you're thinking in those two key thoughts, I think, again, my impression is that you're thinking about your members and your potential members and how you'll engage them. And I think not necessarily the more options, but the more well thought through options that you have, that shows me that you're a club about catering to different needs and different people. So flexibility. And for me in there, it also relates, I put in there what formats. So what formats do you offer in your sport? My main background's cricket, and I could go to a number of cricket clubs. I'm not digging it out too much here, but I could go to a number of cricket clubs, and I could go there and I want to sign up and play. And basically my only option is to play all day Saturday hardball cricket as a 37-year-old male. That's my only option. I've got kids, I work, I'm away a lot, I can't do that. So immediately the formats are an issue. That shows me a club that isn't really thinking about the wider membership and what you might be able to offer people. And then obviously some of the examples that I put in there, and again, not telling you to suck eggs, and some of you do this really well already, but maybe having those conversations and thinking about your membership structures and models around perhaps how you can offer more family, pay as you play, perhaps it's program only, signing up for a 6-8 week program at the club. There might be a modified version of something that might be their way of being a member. All those sort of options, social memberships, etc. And the last one, which I think we're going to see more of, is around that value add. So if you're a multi-sport club, will it be options that, I pay a full club membership, which gives me access to playing, I don't know, whatever it is, rugby, soccer, squash, whatever the multi-sport option is, that gives you that full membership and access to all those facilities or gym facilities that might be on premises. What are additional activities that maybe you start to provide? And again, we've seen it loads in the last month, online fitness stuff at home. Can the club offer, yoga classes online as part of the membership. I don't know. We're thinking out loud. Sponsor discounts, multi-club casual membership. Can you team up with a club down the road? I had this conversation the other week with a rackets club. Again, thinking in that space, one of the big challenges there is if you're a social or pay as you want to play type person, actually getting court time is actually quite hard because the clubs book out all the prime court time for all their members. So it all sounds well and good until you want to go and play, and then you only slots at 11 o'clock at night. So, are you able to team up maybe with a club or 2 or 3 clubs down the road as a rackets club in this example, that maybe a social membership gives you access to each of those? So if there's a free court down at the club down at the road, we can get in and use that. Again, all these things for me are around engagement. That is engaging people in a meaningful way and making your club look good. Comms and content. Again, this is an area where we've probably excelled at, and I think everyone's got their head around pretty well. So reviewing your digital world, your website, social media channels, Facebook. I mentioned scheduling apps earlier. If you're that way inclined, using Hootsuite or Loomly or any of those options out there that can maybe again make your life a little bit easier. And obviously, any comms course you might have been on or talked to any expert in this, and I'm by no means that, is choosing a couple of them and doing them well. And I think you guys probably know that, probably not trying to do everything. Understand what your members or your potential audience are mostly on in terms of social media channels, etc., and really concentrate on doing them and doing those ones well if you can. Content. I didn't want to go into loads around this because, again, there's so many examples out there that we've seen, and you guys know this, but for me, it's probably making sure you broaden your appeal as well. Yes, use it as a way to connect with your people within your club and your membership, but actually always have in the back of your mind, hey, this is how we can also broaden our appeal, particularly with social media, because I see all these ones of all the different clubs and sports, and if I see something that's really neat, I might go and research you a bit. I might go see what your club's about. Actually, that looks really neat. I might maybe get involved. So really thinking in that way. So all those activities that you're seeing, online challenge videos, all of those great things that are listed there. Again, doing what you can do within your club and where your skill set maybe lies. And I think this will relate to my next slide around volunteers as well, around how you might start to do that. Because I look at that list and I know it's a little bit daunting. And you're probably going, holy cow, where do I start? I'm just trying to keep the club afloat at the moment. A basic comms plan. So once you've decided on those things and got them ready, just a quick, who, what, when, how. Again, this doesn't have to be, super level comms plan. I'm just talking about having it down in a bit of formality, a little bit of a one pager, who you're trying to target, what's the message we're trying to get across, when are we going to do it, and what's the channel, how are we going to do it. Just having a little bit of thought around what you're going to do in that regard. And I put in here underneath, not everything will revolve around the first team and scores. Because again, if we're honest, and we go back to comms and content pre-COVID, for most clubs and most sports, the content revolved around score updates, first team results, the sport, which is totally understandable. And it's still really, really important and will be important going forward. But I think, again, relating to that point earlier around, I suppose, your sense of community, people are becoming more honed in on this. So what are you showing in terms of what your club are doing for people and your members and that wider benefit? And I hope that'll be a positive thing that comes out of the content and comms creation from this, is that we start really showing off what we do as clubs for our community.